Sunday. We're going to have the annual meeting today, and I've prepared an interesting kind of journey back through 2022 to give y'all a look at what's been happening around here. I decided that, you go in and you have your annual physical, and today we're kind of having an annual business meeting. You need an annual spiritual too, a little checkup to see where we are. So this will be fun. And I want to welcome all of you who are here. We've got a returning visitor, and we've got first timer. I'm so glad to see you, Ruth. And I welcome all you individualized expressions of God, because that's what we are here at Unity. We affirm that God is within every one of us as the Christ. God's idea of itself in humanity. We are fully human and fully divine. The Christ, or the I Am, is the fullness of God expressed individually. It is a power and a light within each of us, and we have the Christ candle to remind us of our own light within. So if you want to join with this, I like to connect to the space and connect to each other. So first I connect to the earth's energy, and then I connect to myself. I connect to this beautiful community. I connect to the teachers, each one of us a teacher. I connect to the Unity movement, and I connect to all that is and bring that in. So good to have you here. Let us say, let's say our opening statement together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the good, the omnipotent. It's not going to work. Today our daily word is, I need to pin myself. Hang on a second. We had a lot to get ready this morning for our annual meeting, so forgive us a little bit. So today our daily word is comfort. Were y'all comfortable in your beds, all snuggled up in this cold weather? But another way we find comfort is as we express love. When I'm troubled, I find comfort in the loving words and support of others. I surround myself with those who offer solace in my time of need. I'm encouraged by their kindness and compassion. As we share kindness and love, we hearten souls and bolster faith. We give comfort to ourselves and others. That's what got me out of bed this morning, the comfort of being in this community. Yeah, it always feels good. So, well, I wanted to start with just a fun song, and I wanted a fun version of it. Sorry, Zoomers. I didn't realize I wasn't connected up to this sound. There's so many things that we had to check today. Our checklist was kind of long. So, but we're all together now. This little light of mine. Well, it's not raining. It is beautiful, sunshiny day. It's wonderful. And it is going to warm up because there's that good sunshine out there. So let's just come together for a moment in prayer. As I reviewed the year this year, I found a beautiful prayer that we used back in around the time that Ukraine was invaded. And this is just someone sent me this prayer from Dallas. It's a Judaism prayer. And so first let's relax and open. We feel that energy from that wonderful song. We feel our heart open, our minds open. And we take a deep breath. and relax in this space. And we say, grant me the grace of wonder. Surprise me, amaze me, awe me in every crevice of your universe. Each day enrapture me with your marvelous things without number. I do not ask to see the reason for it all. I ask only to share the wonder of it all. Grant me peace, your most precious gift, and give me the will to proclaim its message to all the people of the earth. Although differences in thought and belief divide us, let the love of truth and the pursuit of holiness unite me with all life. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands, and may the love of Christ hallow every home and every heart. May the one who makes peace in the heavens make peace for us all. And actually, that is us. We are individualized expressions of God. Let us make peace. Let us find the truth and love. And in this community that I appreciate so much, let us carry on in yet another year. Let us celebrate what we have done this past year, and let us also move forward with faith and strength and order and imagination and zeal and all that we need, all the resources we need to thrive as a community. And we just say, so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. Oh, I love that prayer. So today, I'm going to map the journey of 2022. I kind of had fun doing this. I went through every PowerPoint of last year. And wow, it was pretty amazing. Now, I didn't have every PowerPoint, but I had most of them. And that's where I found that prayer, and I said, oh, that is a beautiful prayer. I have to do that. And did you notice it was about wonder? Because you know what? 2022, our word of the year was wonder. Oh, but before I get to the wonder, I want you to see, you know, we've got a whole lot behind us, not just 2022. We started in 1932. Let's see, do the math, 32. What's that going to be? 78 and 23. Oh, gee, that's an odd one. Is that 91? So at any rate, we started as a study group, as many Unity communities do. We were on Spring Street down in downtown Little Rock. Wow. And I think the old house still stands. And then we've had several ministers, and it wasn't until the 70s that with Paul Stewart that we came out here into this building that we have now. And it was a little house. We're in the house part, and the sanctuary we haven't been using right now, but that was added on. And so that's the history of that. And then we've had some people that have had kind of longer terms, like Earl Anderson went from 79 through 92. And, you know, that was kind of a heyday for Unity of Little Rock, and you remember it. Gail may remember it. I don't know. I wasn't here, believe it or not, I wasn't here then. I think I was in Arizona at the time, in Texas. But anyway, I think it was a heyday because people were just, it was kind of a renaissance of new thought. And it really came to life about that time. And then the Quimby's were here for 92 through 2007. And then we started, you know, having different ministers. And so we've had Reverend Julie Fancher, the Truth Center merged with us, and Tina Brown became an associate pastor in 2011. And James Buchanan was here for a couple of years, and our own Reverend Russ was an interim minister for 2 years. I mean, I didn't put the end date on that. But, all right, there we are up to this point. Okay, what's next? I don't know. But it really is a history.
Wow.
We really have been here. Did you, I want y'all to appreciate that. In fact, I want you to say, wow. So, willing to wonder, that was our idea for 2022. I love that thing. And you may have heard in the prayer I had wonder. I'm just, even at, it doesn't matter what age you are, everything is kind of wonderful, and you can say wow to. There's things you can go whoa to, but there's a lot of wonder in the world. And I kept the dates on some of these. Now these are not in order, but in the middle of July we did a wow checkup. And anyone who remembers Jeannie Bailey might know that we call that Warriors of Wholeness. Mm-hmm. Warriors of Wholeness, I always like that. And Warriors of Wholeness have zeal, imagination, faith, strength. We claim our unity and we come together as a complete harmonious whole. That was one thing we claimed. Wow, we're inspired, we're creative, we're wise, we're generous, we're prayerful, we're grateful. Warriors of Wholeness. Well, now that brings me, and Travis can help, to the first thing that I want you to do in your annual spiritual checkup. Okay, so, I should have put this on the screen, but I've got these wheels, and I've done this before. It was called a wheel of life. I have got colored pencils on your tables, and so for every sector, you color in how far out, how much you think you're on. It's like a scale. So notice that Warriors of Wholeness, well, they're generous, they're grateful. Going back to the other slide, they practice zeal, imagination, and faith. And you can be playing with this. You can color. I give you permission to color the entire service if you wish. But what you do is like on imagination, you say, "Ooh, I've really been using my imagination this past year. I've been sparked by so many ideas." Well, then you would be coloring that spoke, or maybe the sector right underneath it. Color it in. But if you feel like, I hadn't thought of any new ideas, I've been kind of stagnant, well, don't color it out very far. So you understand what I'm saying? So your wheel, it's not going to be all colored in symmetrically. There are going to be some things that you really think you've excelled at, and some things that maybe you want more of. Maybe there's some things, and this would be really cool, if you're going, I think unity needs a little more imagination or a little more something. Maybe something's coming up for you that you might think that you want. So now, notice I left 2 blank spokes. And that means that maybe there's something that's going to come up that you personally want to add. So, and notice I did use the 12 powers a lot, but then I also used prayer and meditation, forgiveness, because that was a big thing this year, oneness, affirmations. These were just things that kind of came to me this year as I went through all those PowerPoints. So I'm going to let you all play with this however you want. You can. I've got artists in the room. I do know that. So y'all color the center the way you want it. You just make whatever you want out of this. But I want you to kind of, no matter how artistic it is, I hope you realize, oh, okay, this sector is really good. This is something I need more of. So and I'm going to be doing clues about this all through the service. Now, now I have more colors. Let me see. Lorraine, do I have them all over now? Okay. So, Back in January, we did a review of affirmations. And notice this is a book. That brings me to the second sheet that you might see. This is a bookshelf with bindings that don't have any names on them. And so you might want to take notes today as I refer to books. And you may have some books you want to tell me about. But one thing down here, I have Unity books. And for the Unity books, y'all, when I'm in my blue couch constructing a lesson or thinking about Unity or meditating, I have Unity books within reach. I swear I do. And like I've got Lessons in Truth, the Heartfelt Metaphysics, a lot of Pema Chodron. Well, that's not a Unity book, but then I have Eric Butterworth. I have many books available. Now, the books, if you want the name of this book, it was Affirmations for Turbulent Times. And if you want to make a note about it, you can write it on the spine or you can write it up above, whatever. But I thought we'd have a bookshelf today because you know what? We do a lot of books here at Unity. And you know what? I apologize. I should have included the books y'all studied too. I forgot about that because we had a lot of that on Sunday morning for sure. But at any rate, I thought you might want to keep a record of that. So that kind of goes along with our little checkup. Okay.
Remind everybody that there is a Unity bookstore,
Library.
At their library.
Yes.
And it's full of Unity authors.
That is true. It really is. It's got the classics.
Yep.
And I might add, and we've got, for purchase, we've got Unity books here. And we also have Science of Mind books that Frank Crean donated a while back, and you can check those out. So, yeah, we've got books.
Yeah.
Well, now let's, yes.
By will, do you mean like willpower? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, I haven't gotten to that one yet, but but I'll do it right now if you're. So the power of will is really your power of choice. And to me, I like this saying, I choose, I commit, I am willing. It's not about willpower like, oh, I'm never going to eat chocolate again. It's not like that. It's choosing the path that you're going to take and knowing you always have choice. And once you make the choice, you commit to it. So that's the power of will. And I think that's going to come up, Dave. And if there's any others that you, as the day goes on, if you want to ask about. Now, I didn't do quotes a lot, but these were kind of good quotes. So as we were reviewing affirmations, you know, you might think, how's my affirmation practice? Do I use them? Is it just wishful thinking? Well, here's what Eric Butterworth said. He said, it's probably true that many persons coming into the study of truth simply jump into the practice of affirmations without rightly identifying it as being the law of our very being. You know, sometimes it's just words at first. So in truth, you begin to use affirmations to speak the word about difficulties. But in the healing need, instead of asking God to heal you, you realize that God is life, the life of your life. You're not affirming this silly God is going to do something for you or this God's going to change his attitude. Within you, there is that which is always whole, even before you ask, even before you begin to tell God or talk to Spirit that that's what he's supposed to be for you. So think about that with affirmations. And this book was by Sarah Payton, who does a lot of NBC and resonance work, and she says that, let me remove this, that affirmations remind people of needs and energy that replenish their resources, and they restore self-confidence by allowing individuals to reflect on their sources of self-worth and their core values. So she kind of had a little bit different take on affirmations. Certainly we have a lot of writing on that in Unity, but it's worth it thinking about. How's your affirmation practice? And if you want to know more about that, find someone you can ask too. Now, another thing we picked up in January, late January, I think, was Nothing Stands Alone. And actually, this was a theme from Richard Rohr, who is a Catholic friar, and he runs the Contemplation Center and does contemplative prayer, and or Center for Contemplation, I should have said. And the really cool thing about this little lesson is that we're seeing that other people besides Unitics think of God as principle and think of this universal Christ, which Richard Rohr happened to have written a book about. Now, again, Sarah Payton said, we humans are uniquely available to hold each other and ourselves with warmth and resonance in ways that reestablish real relationship and engage our brain's capacity for healing. Relationship. Now this year we're doing connections, sort of the same thing, but we talked a lot about relationship last year. You could have a relationship spoke on one of those blanks if you so wish. But Richard Rohr says our sense of disconnection is only an illusion. Nothing human can stop the flow of divine love. We cannot undo the eternal pattern, even by our worst sin. And to see the world outside you as real is to live in separation from your divinity. Separation is all you perceive on your own, and union is all that you invite the divine into and share in oneness. Boy, that sounds a lot like unity. It's so interesting how this is kind of out in the world now. Everything is in relationship and nothing stands alone, even if you're just in relationship with yourself. And he talked a lot about the Trinity. Oh, and that kind of got cut off, but this is the Trinity icon, and he wrote a book, another book, The Divine Dance. It's really good. And see, look at how he's conceiving of God. It sounds so much like unity. God is formless, that's the Father in his mind. God is form, the Son. God is the very living and loving energy between those two, the Holy Spirit. That's how he sees the Trinity. Now we in unity say the Trinity is mind, idea, expression. But it's kind of interesting. I can understand what he's getting at there. So that's kind of interesting. One of my favorite days that I discovered was what we did on Earth Day. That was really fun. I had a lot of photos that went along with that. And we know, yeah, there's beauty and wonder in the world, and then there's some things we have to be concerned with. So, oh shoot, I forgot there was a sound related to that. So we used, well, first of all, here's an interesting thing about the year. That was our brand. That's the way we identified ourselves, Unity of Little Rock. But we've switched to the Unity brand with Unity Worldwide Ministries. So that is something that happened last year, that Beverly helped us arrange that. And
what is it?
so it's the blue unity symbol. I'll have a slide with it on it in a minute, but we did change that. And we looked a lot at symbols, and so here's this beautiful card that represents the care of the earth. It's called Gaia. You know, some people call Earth Gaia, and within that symbol is the flower of life and the tetrahedron. And I'm a geometer, and I love sacred geometry. And I noticed last year we did a lot with symbols, and you may want to know more about the symbols. They're very beautiful, meaningful. And another book came up. This is Love Letter to the Earth by Thich Nhat Hanh. And at this very moment, he said, the earth is above you, below you, and all around you, and even inside you. The earth is everywhere. You may be used to thinking of the earth as only the ground beneath your feet, but the water, the sea, the sky, and everything around us comes from the earth. Everything outside us and everything inside us comes from the earth. Ooh, oneness, you know, and that is a good unity, well, and just worldwide view of we are one with the earth. And that's It's a wonderful book to. Now, then we looked at the idea in relationship to Earth Day of enchantment versus disenchantment. And so there's a book, and it's going to come up in a minute, A Return to Enchantment. And it says, you know, we're looking at the world and we may learn through science, and then we apply it, we develop a technology, but then we exploit the knowledge and the resources, and we overuse the materials of the world for selfish reasons, for profit. And we advance a disenchanted culture because we get separated. So that was a real interesting idea. And alternatively, when we translate science into wonder, see, there it is again, philosophy and intimacy with nature, instead of exploitation, we respect the great power of order in life and the universe. We respect the limits that nature asks of us. And here's the book, The Reenchantment of Everyday Life. And I love this. The secret of enchantment is never leave the yin and yang of poetry and life. Never abandon the steady rhythm of experience and imagination. Never lose touch with your spiritual senses. And that was by Thomas More. Short little book. We read a lot, don't we? Well, one of my favorite books and my favorite series is we did Unity in World Religions. It was a book that came out last year. And, and by the way, that's the brand, the blue, the Unity. And so anyway, let's see, what did we do with that?
Jeannie, for some reason on the Zoom, your slides aren't advancing. You're still on the Earth Day slide.
Oh my gosh. It's because I wasn't. Now, how does that show up?
Yeah,
Now it shows up. I'm sorry. It's another technical thing I'm aware of. But at any rate, when we studied these world religions, we talked about many paths, one God, following a golden thread. And that was in June. And this is what the author John Roach said. He said, religions differ greatly on the surface, and there are multiplicities of practices and rituals and approaches. However, as we dig beneath the surface, we begin to find these commonalities. Aldous Huxley referred to this as the perennial philosophy. I like to call it the golden thread of mystical understanding, by which I mean a direct intuitive awareness of truth. And in this room, if you'll look around there, we have a poster that is, we framed it, the golden rule in different religions, and then also how we approach what's the green philosophy, the earth philosophy in different religions. And I love this series because we found we took the 5 principles of unity, and then we saw how each of them was really intersecting all the other major faiths. And in unity, we always allow any faith, we welcome, because Charles Fillmore never intended for this to become like a denomination. Unity, it was a movement, and he welcomed all faiths, many paths, one God. And so that was a wonderful series, and I loved. Let's talk about symbols. There's the combination of all the symbols. That's really beautiful. And then, you know, me being a scholar, when I did that series, I like to look at timelines and what was going on, and it was so interesting to see how Hinduism and Judaism, they're the oldest of the religions, and Christianity is really kind of in the middle. It was just interesting to look at all of that. So that's a good book, you guys. Well, of course, we talked about love. And notice that of course, February 13th. Do you all know how much fun I have finding all these images and finding the music? Yeah, I really do have fun doing this, even though I stay up way too late, but I really do have fun. I try on Mondays to get the download, but then the week happens, and then, but I have so much fun finding these images. The internet, it can be wonderful, Again, another card. I love this, the freedom of love. And in this card, there's all these spirals and the dove wings and a heart. And this is a dodecahedron, stellated dodecahedron, as a matter of fact. And it is associated with unity consciousness or Christ consciousness. And it's just, that was a beautiful card to draw for sacred geometry. Now, if we had love, and of course we had our Reverend Beverly spoke to us in many wonderful lessons. And I went ahead and put her picture in because she has been a wonderful addition to our Unity family. And I've just been so grateful for all that she's done here, especially the Wellness Wednesday, but many things. Like whenever we're doing something here in the community and she's here, she's working just as hard as everybody to clean the kitchen or get the potluck on, and she's been our board president this year. So, but one thing I love, Beverly brought us a lot about symbols, and she explained about the cross. And so you all know what the cross looks like. So we have your infinite nature, and then we have your finite life, the crossbar. And now if you're in the past, you're looking at anger and resentment. It's not really cross, it's not really whole yet. Or if you're in the future, there could be fear or worry or stress. But the idea is to live in the present moment. And what we realize is with this cross, I am fully human and fully divine. I am the doer in my world. My humanity gives me direction and uses my divinity and higher powers to navigate life. A theme that keeps coming up, I am fully human and fully divine, and I join the two. I'm in unity. And another symbol that Beverly brought us was the unalome, the entire philosophy of the human existence. I love that. It begins in this spiral, and then it gets tighter and tighter until enlightenment at the top. That's a beautiful symbol for the path that we take. Oh, please don't be a song on this. Okay. Now, another thing that we looked at, this was in August. We went to the movies with Metaphysics, and we looked at the hero's journey. So here's something for your map. So here is the basic map of a hero's journey. They start in the ordinary world, and then they get tested, and then they learn something, and then they come back to life. And of course, a perfect example for that was the Wizard of Oz. And that was a lot of fun. I love this. You had the power all along, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself. Wow. And that's principle 3, isn't it? That we create our own reality. And we looked at Inside Out. We looked at animation. And I've been talking about that one a lot. Remember this one, Soul? That was a fun movie to review. And I'm sure we reviewed other movies, but these were the 3 that I had. But it is really fun to look at different stories out there and what is the metaphysical connection. I think some humor came up through the year. So this is a poem by Hafiz, and I'm sorry, you might not be able to read it. Well, I guess it shows up on the screen. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. And then Colleen Brown contributed this one, and I thought it was really funny. Well, and it relates to Thich Nhat Hanh. I think God is on earth inside every living being. What we call the divine is none other than the energy of awakening peace, of understanding and love, which is to be found not only in every human being, but in every species on earth. This is from Reverend Russ. I love this. We all love this cartoon. You are the universe pretending to be a bird. Can you imagine? You are the universe pretending to be. Okay. And of course, we laughed a lot with Susan Julie. And notice how she brought up wonder again, smitten by wonder and awe. And that was a really fun day where we did laughter yoga, and we made the flowers for the Phoenix, for the women at the Phoenix Center. We came, this was July 4th, right about July, we said, you know, our air conditioner's not working as good as we want. Hey, let's come into the community room. And we've been in the community room with the Sunday Salon, and we've really enjoyed it. But what was so much fun, I'll never forget the day, one of the first days we did it, and Pam, the look on your face as you walked in the door and you went, oh, you know, because we fixed up the tables, and it just seemed like so much fun. And we've had some classes here. June Dillinger was with us. And we had a fun time that night with the heart cards, yeah. And so it was a lot of fun. Now, of course, in September, that's the World Day of Prayer, and we started in September a theme of prayer, and we went over the movements, the 5 movements of prayer. We did. You got to have a prayer checkup every year, you know, because our unity prayer, our affirmative prayer is so special to me. And you know, when people request prayer and I go into these movements, they go, well, wait, when are you going to ask God for something? You know, but that's not what we do in unity. We just know that it already is. And I love the idea. What it does is it clarifies and expands me as I go through these movements, and I really open up to guidance. And of course, silence can be involved in prayer, and meditation itself is just very important, because that, the still small voice, that is where we really get in touch with the divinity. And then in November, Beverly and Russ did Ho'oponopono, and y'all, this has really impacted me this year, and we did 4 on it, and I was out of town a lot that month, but I have really used this a lot. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And I've done it with people that, you know, maybe we had a conflict or something, and I've just been amazed at how you can connect with somebody and just get through that conflict. A lot, at least you get through a lot of the energy of it. Maybe not completely, but that's when you say it over and over and over and over. And that was a wonderful, wonderful series. So forgiveness is actually a spoke in the wheel. And we always have forgiveness work, don't we? Because we are human. We're fully human. And of course, I didn't do all of them, but I loved Advent this year in December. And of course, we did faith and love and peace and joy. But I particularly loved our one on peace, sensing peace, living peace, being peace. And Dave, you particularly liked this construct of, well, there's really 4 kinds of peace. It just starts with something as simple as relaxation, but that's still very valuable. But then, you know, it can transcend into something that's really connecting you to oneness. So peace has many, many levels, and that was fun. And then for joy, well, this kind of brings it all together. So here you see, and Debbie Toms showed me this, you start with just an awareness and then understanding your responsibility, and then doing your forgiveness work, and then you feel that peace, and you stay with it a little longer, and at the summit is joy. I love that. And if you go back and look at what we did for Advent, it wasn't stale. You know, we do the same thing every year, and I keep wondering, how am I going to come up with something new? But yet something always comes to me. That's the imagination part. Well, that really, does anyone have any insights, anything that they want to add to the year? I think I did a pretty good job of kind of covering it. And it was a good year. I know we've got work to do. We can always expand, grow, more work to do. But we can say, okay, 2022, a year of wonder. It was fun. Now we step into the next year. So this is one of my favorite Janice Stanfield songs. So before we do meditation, I want to do this song. It's If I Were Brave. If you were brave, what would you do? So we've looked at the past. We have seen things we may have learned. What would you do? Now I want to warn you, she's showing a lot of brave women. And so, men, I'm sorry, y'all know it too, for sure. But I just want to put in a disclaimer in advance. But I think you'll enjoy this. Let's see.
If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? We secretly dream. What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? You know there are. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even